Hello, welcome back to another FIFA 23 Tactics video. I'm Ash or Brommer18, whichever you prefer. And if you're new to the channel, welcome along. Thanks for joining. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to get notifications every time I upload. On here, I'll show you how to replicate real systems in FIFA 23. Lots of fantastic content for you that I think you guys will really enjoy. So make sure to check it out. Today, we've got a really exciting one. We are covering Maurizio Sarri's Napoli system, Sarrismo, the one that really took everyone's imagination, pushed Juventus all the way multiple times, but couldn't quite get over the edge. Haven't had many requests for this one, but I've just decided to do it because ultimately I love this system. I loved watching this team. This was the year that I kind of started watching Serie A games full on BT Sport in the UK for the very first time. And really just kind of fell in love with it. Already really loved it anyway, but never got the chance to kind of watch full games on a regular. And then I could with this, and it was just brilliant. Absolutely loved it. Loved playing with it. Loved watching it. So let's get into it. Before we talk about this formation, as you can see, a couple of position changes here. Very funky looking 4-3-3. Just quickly want to say, if you haven't done so already, check out my Patreon. The link is down below. You can see how this tactic ranks and rates compared to all of the other systems that I do cover on the channel, as well as suitable teams to play as, strengths and weaknesses. On top of that, you can get access to exclusive tactics videos that you'll only find on Patreon. Bayer Leverkusen of Xabi Alonso, Will Steele Starram, Ange Postecoglou Celtic. We've got Real Sociedad, we've got Vieira's Palace, if you want to see that, Ruud van Nistelrooy's PSV, and a whole lot more. And with that being said, let's talk about this system. So starting off with the position changes then, you obviously want this 4-3-3 holding, just a couple of tweaks. In this case, you want to make sure that both of the fullbacks are pushed up to wing back. Those of you who subscribe to the channel will obviously know this as a fairly regular feature. For those who aren't, we do this because it gets them further forward and also further wider. It works best when you're trying to play out of possession from the back. You'll notice that they really do push up a little bit more and helps with that progression of playing out through the thirds and pins the opposition wingers back a little bit as well. And that's something that's very, very important for that system in which you are going to obviously want to build out from the back. Other than that, we can move on to the tactical instructions. Starting off with defensive style, we have it on constant pressure. A very, very relentless press was this Napoli team, and it's something that has followed Sarri throughout his career, really, still doing now, even at Lazio. And this is something in which it's very important because, one, yes, you are looking to press relentlessly, but they had so much possession all the time that you shouldn't be pressing too much because you should generally be in possession of the ball. So that's something you are going to want to bear in mind. The width is on 30, a little bit more stretched out than the typical kind of narrow shape. This is in order to complement that press, and you'll notice that they did leave slightly more space in between each vertical line in order to do that. So that's something that you'll notice as well. And then the depth pushed all the way up to 100, giving you this ultra high line, something that again is a kind of principle of Sarri throughout all of his teams, and something that is going to again supplement that extreme press that you are looking to utilise. The build-up play is on slow build-up and the chance creation is on possession. Now you don't need me to really go through that. Obviously we know how they play, but generally it is going to mean that your players are going to be coming shorter and showing for the ball at a much shorter range. And the way in which you're going to create that movement that is so fundamental to this system is via the player instructions, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. The width is on 10, condensing it to make it very, very compact. Again, playing into that kind of extreme, ultra kind of possession-based system. But obviously you still want that vertical emphasis, which again we'll talk about in the player instructions. But generally you're going to get those players showing at such a short range that it's going to be really easy to kind of construct those patterns of play where you've got such short, quick, sharp interchanges. With the players in the box, this is on 6. Generally it would have been 3 to 4 players getting into the box. Obviously the front three, one of the central midfielders, which would have been Alan in that case. And that's really what you're looking for. Occasionally a fullback would get in there as well. And then corners and free kicks, this time both of these are on 3. They generally like to do short set pieces. They always, on corners, always have a player coming short, showing for the ball and playing it out short. And then with free kicks, often the same as well. So that's something you also want to bear in mind. On to the player instructions then, starting off with what would have been Pepe Reina in goal. We have got comes to crosses and sweeper keeper as well. Very, very important considering that high line you are playing, your keeper is coming out and acting as that extra layer of defence. But also Reina was one that would kind of like to play on the front foot, and so in those crossing situations he would like to come out, sometimes fluffing at the ball, but definitely something that was part of his game. So both the centre-backs are on normal interceptions, no need to change anything there. And then with both full-backs that are of course wing-backs in this case. With the left-back that would have been of course Fauzi Gulam, you've got him on during the attack and over. So he's that out-and-out kind of attacking full-back. But on the other side with Di Lorenzo, which could have been El Cid Husai in this case, you've got his run type on overlap, but this time attacking runs is on balance. This was the emphasis of a player who would occasionally stay back and look to kind of protect against opposition transitions, attacking transitions. And so his role was sometimes just to kind of hold the line a little bit more, but generally he would still kind of get forward. It's still a role that he kind of performs for Sarri in that current Lazio system as well. With Lobotka, a defensive midfield, playing that Jorginho role in this case. We've got his defensive behaviour on cut passing lanes. It's a zonally orientated press, a lane press as I like to call it. And attacking support is stay back whilst attacking. Of course, that out and out deeper playmaker looking to provide the option of that possessional pivot. Defensive position is cover centre to make sure he isn't getting dragged out wide. That'll be the job of the guys ahead of him. And then positioning freedom is on deep lying playmaker. Does a really good job in this FIFA of dropping into different pockets of space and helping you to kind of play out from the back and through the thirds and allowing him to be that possessional pivot. Now with the two central midfielders, we'll start off with Zambo Anguissa, who is playing that Alan role in this case, more of a box-to-box midfielder, not out and out, but pretty close to it. Attacking support is balanced, not generally running on beyond the striker for the most part, but would occasionally do that. And his support on crosses was also getting to the box for the cross as well. His positioning freedom is stick to position, and his defensive position is cover wing. Now very different over on the other side with Zielinski, who is playing that Marek Hamšík role in this case. Very predefined kind of roles for all of the kind of, well, the midfield three in this case. We've got his support on attacking, support on stay back whilst attacking, and his support on crosses is also stay on the edge of the box with a cross as well. He was an extra positional pivot. He helped to actually protect against opposition counter-attacks because he was kind of hovering around the edge of the area. It's also important that you make sure that he isn't kind of running in beyond the striker as well, which is why we've got him on stay back whilst attacking. The way in which you replicate his role much more accurately is with this here. Positioning freedom, being on free roam, is absolutely huge because it is going to allow you to kind of get him around into all these different areas and pockets of space and really get you playing through him. But also what it does is it drops him deeper at times as well, which again really helps with that playing out through the thirds and going through him, and it's something that he often did. So coming on to the two wingers then, starting off with Kvaratskhelia, who would of course been Lorenzo Insigne, and is obviously doing a great job of replacing him and that hole. Come back on defence to make sure that he's tracking back. His chance creation is on cut inside, but this time his support runs is on come short. He's someone who likes to pick up the ball a little bit deeper, and he often played a lot of 1-2s. So the way in which they got him penetrating the back line is when he would kind of play it and then he'd go. So it'd be a give and go situations, and that was kind of a big part of his emphasis. He also likes to pick up the ball and really drive from deep and cut inside on his right foot as well. And then support on crosses is getting to the box with a cross. Now very different for Politano playing that Jose Callejon role, who was really good at this kind of late movement, penetrating the back line, running in behind, and often picking up crosses from Insigne. Over on this side, he'd be looking towards the back post and those runs of Callejon. So in this case, we've got him on cut inside, but this time his support runs is getting behind, and he's going to do a really good job of penetrating that back line. And then support on crosses is also getting to the box for the cross. Now with Osimhen playing that Dries Mertens / Arkadiusz Milik role in this case, we have got his support runs on stay central and his attacking runs on false 9. He's someone who, once they did try and look to kind of replace Gonzalo Higuain, which is when this kind of system really did hit its peak after Higuain had kind of left. Granted, he did score like 32 plus goals, but the system was really at its best after, and they kind of got Mertens into that false 9 role, and that's what he did. He often dropped into these pockets of space and looked to get runners in and around him, the likes of Callejon, the likes of Alan and Insigne, etc., as well as the fullbacks overlapping. So that's what we're looking for there. And his defensive support is stay forward. And so that rounds it off for another tactics video then. Guys, if you have made it through to the end, thank you very much for watching. Do you want to say, if you want to see how this tactic ranks and rates compared to all of the other systems, check out my Patreon. And a massive, massive thank you to everyone who is kindly supporting me on Patreon. Record number of patrons that we've got so far and still continuing to grow. And it is what is keeping the channel alive and allowing me to kind of produce and justify producing this much content for you guys. So thank you so much to all you wonderful, wonderful patrons out there. Make sure to give me a follow on Twitter. The link is down below. Check out all of my playlists. We've got tactics tutorials. We've got FIFA 23 shorts. Got some really good series coming on the way as well. I think you guys are going to really enjoy them. So keep an eye out for them. And make sure to ring the bell to get notifications every time I upload a video. With that being said, we're going to finish it off there. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next one, I will see you soon.